Echoes of the Chainsaw: Biodiversity, Loss, and Social Injustice. I am studying the impacts of logging on biodiversity along the Appalachian Trail. Logging, especially clear cutting and salvage operations, alters biodiversity, ecosystem processes, and climate vulnerability in the Central Appalachians. Through a green criminology lens, these harms are embedded in the treadmill of production, state corporate dynamics, and environmental injustice, producing ecological disorganization and long-tail logging legacies that outlive policy cycles and profit windows. This is important to me because the Central Appalachian Forest is a biodiversity hotspot and a climate buffer. Yet, intensive logging has reshaped its streams, soils, species, and future stability. What social conditions and institutional processes drive these ecological harms, and how do they persist as logging legacies even after the chainsaws stop? Environmental harm versus legal compliance. Ecological damage can be lawful but still criminogenic in outcome. Treadmill of production. Economic pressure drives resource extraction beyond ecological thresholds. State corporate dynamics, policy regimes, and enforcement gaps can normalize harmful practices. Environmental victims, non-human species, and local communities absorb cumulative harms. Clear cutting accelerates wood breakdown in streams, altering nutrition cycles and habitat quality. Post-winds, salvage logging compounds disturbance, delaying forest recovery and reshaping wood species composition for years. Managed forest alters small mammal distributions, while shrub layers shift in abundance and diversity. Avian richness and community composition also change, varying across latitudes and habitat preferences. These ecological disruptions are layered onto climate vulnerability, where conservation gaps leave biodiverse areas unprotected beyond symbolic corridors like the Appalachian Trail. The Appalachian Trail runs approximately 2,200 miles and goes through 14 different states. These impacts are not random. They arise from patterned social forces. Green criminology situates logging harms within growth imperatives, regulatory permissiveness, and uneven protection for landscapes. The treadmill of production drives short rotation logging and salvage practices, externalizing ecological cost. State corporate alignment clusters protection near flagship corridors, leaving biodiverse interiors vulnerable. Ecological disorganization is evident in the lack of seed dispersal. Ant-mediated colonization trails behind forest reestablishment, extending recovery timelines. And non-human victims, birds, mammals, shrubs, are displaced or diminished, exemplifying species injustice. Climate vulnerability assessments show weakened adaptive capacity, where logging undermines resilience. Taken together, these are legacies of lawful harm, show violence that persists across generations, invisible to short-term policy cycles. In high elevation, refugia, sometimes called islands in the sky, logging edges disrupt ridgetop habitats, endangering rare ecosystems. These areas illustrate how even symbolic landscapes are vulnerable when extraction pressures creep upward. Logging harms in the Central Appalachians reveal how lawful extraction erodes ecological resilience. Through green criminology, we see structural drivers, production imperatives, protection gaps, and species injustice, producing cascading legacies. Addressing them requires reframing policy around ecosystem integrity, not just corridor symbolism, and recognizing unhuman victims as part of justice. References. Continuation of references.